we all have many deep unconscious beliefs about ourselves, others, and the world that kind of define the parameters of our reality and limit us in many ways. And they're designed in that way to keep us safe. So we might have a sense of myself as, I'm small, I'm not very good at things, and I'm introverted, I'm kind of quiet, and maybe others you have a sense of they all have it easy and they're really confident, they're all great, and the world is a scary place. It's big, it's threatening, it's dangerous, and there's all kinds of ways in which these unconscious beliefs can play out about whether they tend to revolve around some core deficiency stories, a sense like, okay, I'm unlovable, I'm broken, I'm bad, these kinds of things, and others as like, okay, others are on my side, or they're not on my side, or they're kind of on my side if I behave in the right way. And this plays out in us, for example, living from smallness or people pleasing, is kind of one side of the spectrum. Not being authentic, withholding our voice, not speaking up. The other side of the spectrum is kind of the opposite compensation or coping mechanism, which is where, because we feel weak or small deep down, we sort of overcompensate with arrogance and bluster and aggression, trying to conquer and dominate the world and other people. That's sort of a separate strategy people take. So these unconscious beliefs can take many, many forms, and they can come out in various ways. But in all cases, they feel inauthentic and they cause suffering because they're kind of an artificial limitation, and they're not ultimately true. And they're kind of like these blinkers through which we see the world. It's like we experience reality as if we were actually weak and small, and as if it was threatening, as if others didn't like us, when that's actually just these unconscious beliefs as a filter, which is, tinting how we're perceiving the world. And it's a learned survival filter, and you can actually unlearn it and free yourself from it, and you start experiencing yourself in a much lighter way and others in the world in a lighter way. And that experience, it's not that you go from feeling like you're weak to feeling strong, because that's just the opposite. That's just the opposite compensation. It's like, oh, I'm weak. You're thinking like, I'm the strongest. That's equally untrue. What you want is getting rid of both, where you're not appraising, you're not holding a particular belief about yourself as weak or strong. There's just openness instead. You're not committed to yourself as smart or dumb. There's just openness to however you're turning up in that moment. And the same with other people. It's not like, oh, John's really stupid or he's really smart. You're just like, who is this human being? You're just open to them in the present moment in a more spontaneous way that feels much more freeing, light, and authentic, much more joyful. How do you go about this? Well, you can think of these unconscious beliefs as like a kind of a web, really, where there's some key nodes, which would be those core deficiency stories, like I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable. And then it goes out into other beliefs, like I can't disappoint my dad, or like I need to always be this way. I can't let these emotions up. I can't let people see that I can't fail. It kind of spreads out, getting like the trunk of the tree is the core deficiency stories, and the leaves is getting more towards the behaviors and the way you need to interact with other people. And you set your limits in that way. It's like, I can't be successful. There's a sense of like, I can't be successful. That's a deep unconscious belief, because then it would mean that might contradict your deep belief of being unlovable, for example. And you need to hold on to that sense of being unlovable to be safe. So success would then be unsafe, according to this unconscious layers of belief. And so this web of belief, it's actually held together by all the emotions that come along with those beliefs, kind of the repressed emotion, the stuck survival energy. So for example, when you say, oh, okay, I'm unlovable, say it's a belief you have, you'll know it's a belief you have, because when you contemplate it, it'll land in the body. You'll feel the heaviness in the chest, maybe shame in the belly, tightness coming across through the musculature as the body tries to defend you against a painful feeling that would be associated with it. And it's actually this energetic density, this emotional contraction, that is what makes that story feel so real and so heavy. And that's like the fuel That's what holds this web of beliefs together, right? So in my experience, the best way to let go of an unconscious belief is to go directly to the fuel, to the feeling that is holding it all together. So say you might contemplate that sense of I'm unlovable, or you might imagine a time there was a scenario where you felt someone criticized you or rejected you and you felt unlovable. And if you bring that memory to mind, you'll feel that fuel, that energy, that emotion coming up. And then the trick is to feel it through. And there's a skill and a science and an art to this, which I do explain in some of my other videos, like how to feel your feelings. You can check that out on my channel. And I won't go into the details too much here. You can check out the other videos, but you essentially want to allow and let that shame or emotion, whatever it is, wash through you, process it through as best as you're able. And you may need some resourcing, some support to do this. It's not the easiest thing in the world. It's challenging. It's simple, but it's challenging. But you'll notice the more you're able to get in touch with and meet that part of you emotionally that feels unlovable, listen to it, feel it, then that feeling of unlovability, the conceptual belief can start to relax because you've processed through some of that stickiness that's holding it all together. And you'll feel lighter in your body so that when you contemplate that same term, I'm unlovable, and you sort of, look at it in your mind and feel into it, or bring up that memory of that time you got rejected and felt unlovable, you'll notice there's less that comes up in the body. It's lighter in the body, and so it feels less true. And as you keep working through the layers and layers and layers, it gets less true and less true and less true. And then you start to just become freer and freer of it. And so a kind of a practical way of doing this is you can if you've got a particular belief, like say no one likes me is kind of a filter you have of looking through the world. That belief exists to protect you in some way from some particular feeling. And you're doing it to avoid the feeling of rejection because, think about it. If I believe that no one likes me, then I'm not going to try and be friends with people, then I won't get rejected. So that the glue holding it all together is that feeling of rejection, which we're keeping deep down and don't want to go anywhere near. So if you turn towards that feeling of rejection, that hurt, and you can be gentle and take your time with this, but slowly processing that wound and healing that wound, then that need to project, okay, no one likes me, will get lighter and lighter and lighter because there's less and less to protect. And in that way, you'll stop seeing through that lens of, okay, no one likes me, and there'll just be possibility. I don't know if this person will like me. I don't know if they won't. But let's see, rather than just, okay, they don't like me. And the difference is the lightness in the body that you feel through having processed the wound that belief is protecting you against. So let me know in the comments if there's some of those unconscious beliefs or core deficiency stories that are relevant for you. Everyone has their own unique ones. And again, you can tell which ones are unique for you because they'll land in the body. It's like if I were to tell you, you're a purple turtle, for example, you might not feel anything. You might be like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. Whereas if I say you're a loser, and that really means something for you, if you have some wounding around that kind of idea, you'll feel that land in the body a lot deeper. Now there are nuances to this in terms of resistance that can come up, and protector parts that can come in. But again, check out How to Feel My Feelings. There's another video I've got there's more information on that. Okay, I think I'm done here for the time being. So check out my free toolkit on nervous system regulation to help you work through some of these things. And there's more info on my website, on my channel.